Brittney Griner is, in fact, a man. One of the videos that give us cause to say that is this video. It is from her Instagram stories from years and years ago. And when it comes to Instagram, they use a combination of like AI detection and plus manual surveyors to make sure that no explicit content ends up on the platform. So clearly whatever AI detection system was used when Brittney posted this and it stayed up for 106 weeks was not like, oh, this is a female chest, we have to take this down. Oftentimes, if breast cancer runs in a family, women will preemptively get like double mastectomies. And there are some great surgeons out there, don't get me wrong, but I don't see any scars on Brittney's chest that would be indicative of a double mastectomy or top surgery for gender transition.
The Women's National Basketball Association, WNBA, has made a major announcement that has put Brittney Griner under intense scrutiny. After years of rumors and speculation, the league has reportedly introduced mandatory gender testing for all players. The timing is particularly challenging for Griner, who has already been facing significant criticism over her controversial remarks about CaitlinClark. This new development could have serious implications moving forward. Do you believe the WNBA's decision to implement mandatory gender testing is long overdue, or is it simply another move that could fuel further controversy in women's basketball?
She fouled out, had 6, and it was the ticky-tack fouls, and again, CaitlinClark doing a little bit of an acting job. Not sure if that was actually a foul, but again, that's for the ticky-tack fouls that we were talking about earlier.
It seems that the controversy surrounding Brittney Griner is far from over. Just as the backlash from a viral video in which she allegedly made derogatory remarks about CaitlinClark appeared to be fading, the Women's National Basketball Association, WNBA, announced a major policy change: mandatory gender testing for all players. The timing of the announcement has raised eyebrows. While the league has presented the move as a routine policy update aimed at maintaining competitive integrity and ensuring fair play, many observers are skeptical of that explanation. Some believe the decision may be connected to ongoing debates and speculation surrounding certain players in the league. For years, there have been rumors and public discussions questioning eligibility standards in women's basketball. The WNBA has largely avoided directly addressing these conversations, but this new policy suggests the league is now confronting the issue more formally. In its official statement, the WNBA emphasized fairness and competitive balance. However, critics argue that the situation is more complex and that the broader debate about gender eligibility in sports continues to generate strong opinions on all sides.
To get into that is really hard and really scary. You're about to be a mom. How is that feeling? Pops. Oh, let me get it together. About to be a pop. Please tell me how exciting that is for you and what you're looking forward to most.
I'm super excited. Well, I mean, I guess I'll just drop it. He's here. So he's here. Yes. 7/8/24.
Since entering the Women's National Basketball Association, WNBA, Brittney Griner has frequently been the subject of public debate and media attention. Much of that attention has intensified in recent weeks following controversy involving comments about CaitlinClark. Amid this backdrop, the WNBA has reportedly introduced a policy requiring league-wide eligibility reviews before each season. According to the league, the purpose of the policy is to uphold competitive integrity and ensure compliance with established participation standards. League officials have stated that any eligibility evaluations would be conducted by qualified medical professionals and reviewed through appropriate governance procedures. The WNBA maintains that these measures are designed to promote fairness and consistency across the league. Reaction to the reported policy has been mixed. Some commentators argue that standardized eligibility guidelines are necessary for competitive balance, while others raise concerns about privacy, ethics, and the potential impact on athletes. The broader conversation about eligibility rules in women's sports continues to generate strong opinions across the media and among fans. Supporters and critics are sharply divided over the reported eligibility policy introduced by the Women's National Basketball Association, WNBA. Some opponents describe the measure as discriminatory or invasive, arguing that mandatory biological testing raises serious privacy and ethical concerns. Others contend that women's sports exist to ensure fair competition based on established eligibility standards, and they believe governing bodies have a responsibility to define and enforce those standards clearly. From this perspective, verification policies are framed as a matter of competitive integrity rather than personal identity. The timing of the reported policy has drawn additional attention because Brittney Griner is already facing public scrutiny related to controversy involving CaitlinClark. While strong claims have circulated online, it's important to note that allegations shared on social media are not always verified, and official league investigations, not viral commentary, determine outcomes. Ultimately, the broader debate goes beyond any single player. It reflects an ongoing national and international discussion about fairness, inclusion, privacy, and the future of women's athletics. Debates about eligibility standards in women's sports often intensify when elite athletes display exceptional size, strength, or physical dominance. In professional basketball, including the Women's National Basketball Association, WNBA, height and wingspan can create major competitive advantages. However, natural variation exists within any athletic population, and extraordinary physical traits alone do not determine eligibility. Discussions about fairness in women's sports have become increasingly prominent worldwide. Supporters of stricter eligibility policies argue that biological factors can influence competitive balance and that governing bodies should establish clear, transparent standards. Critics counter that invasive testing policies raise serious concerns about privacy, dignity, and discrimination. When individual players such as Brittney Griner are placed at the center of these debates, conversations can quickly shift from policy to personal speculation. Experts generally emphasize that eligibility decisions should rely on established medical and regulatory frameworks rather than public perception, social media narratives, or assumptions based on appearance. At its core, the issue is about how sports organizations define fairness while also protecting athletes' rights and well-being, a complex challenge that extends far beyond any single player. Supporters of stricter eligibility standards in women's sports argue that biological factors can influence performance outcomes at the professional level. In leagues such as the Women's National Basketball Association, WNBA, differences in height, wingspan, strength, and conditioning can significantly affect competitive balance. Some advocates believe that clearer, more consistent eligibility rules would help address long-standing questions about fairness. Others strongly oppose mandatory biological testing, arguing that it risks invading athletes' privacy and could unfairly target individuals based on speculation rather than evidence. When high-profile players such as Brittney Griner become central to these debates, public conversation often shifts from policy to personal conjecture. Experts generally emphasize that eligibility determinations should rely on established medical standards and league governance procedures, not assumptions about appearance, identity, or personal life. The broader issue remains complex. Sports organizations must balance competitive integrity, athlete privacy, medical ethics, and inclusion. Any decision to implement mandatory testing would likely involve significant legal, medical, and organizational considerations. League officials are facing growing pressure from fans, athletes, and sponsors who want confidence that competition standards are clear and consistently enforced. As women's basketball continues to expand in popularity, maintaining public trust has become increasingly important for the Women's National Basketball Association, WNBA. The sport is currently experiencing significant momentum, fueled in part by breakout stars such as CaitlinClark. Clark's rise has drawn new audiences, increased media coverage, and boosted overall interest in women's basketball. With that surge in visibility comes heightened scrutiny. New fans, sponsors, and media partners expect transparency, fairness, and strong governance from league leadership. Some commentators argue that clearly defined eligibility standards are essential to preserving competitive integrity during this period of growth. Others caution that policies must also respect athlete privacy and uphold ethical standards. Ultimately, as women's basketball reaches new levels of popularity, the league faces the challenge of balancing fairness, inclusion, and credibility, all while protecting the integrity of the game and the athletes who play it. The reported mandatory eligibility testing policy could mark a turning point for the Women's National Basketball Association, WNBA. League officials will need to balance competitive integrity, athlete privacy, and legal considerations as the policy unfolds. How it is implemented and how it withstands public and legal scrutiny could influence not only the future of the WNBA, but also broader conversations about eligibility standards across women's sports worldwide.